These are the 5 must-read books for any entrepreneur who is interested in building their business and building wealth. This is going to be a quick episode. I really just want to give you the value and then let you get on with your day. So here's the thing. I've read countless. I, to be honest, couldn't even give you the number of books that I've read in my lifetime. I started reading wealth books when I was 14, I think it was, about 14 years old. The first book I ever bought was How to Turn $1 into $1 Million in 7 Years or Less by Roy McDonald. I didn't do it. I didn't understand the book at 14, but I started my journey and I just continued to read since then. These are the 5 must-read books. These are some of the biggest standouts for me, and I think that if you're interested in building wealth while building a business that can function without you, doesn't rely on you as the owner, these are the 5 that you'll get some really good nuggets out of. So let's get started with the business books, where there's 2 of them, and then the rest are actually very wealth mindset, wealth concept books. So the first book for business is called The Great Game of Business by Jack Stack. This is a super useful book if you have started to build a team. Now, if you don't have a team yet, maybe save this book until you start to build a team. It's probably not worth investing your energy in right now. You're better off reading it when you have the need rather than just in case learning. But if you have a team, you've started to build a team, you're probably over that 5 team member level. Maybe you're in that no man's land of 5 to 20 or whatever. This is going to be a great time to read the book called The Great Game of Business by Jack Stack. Really all about how do you motivate your team members to think about the business like entrepreneurs themselves. The second one when it comes to business that I found extremely helpful is Scaling Up by Verne Harnish. And one of the reasons that it is super helpful is it's effectively a summary of a whole bunch of other books. You know, numerous times in the book, he's referring and even sharing a snippet out of another book, like out of Good to Great or whatever. So if you're kind of in this process of how do I scale my business up, again, if you're don't have a team, this is probably too early for you. But if you are at the stage now where you've kind of got 5, 10, 20 team members, you've got regular recurring cash flow, and you're going, okay, how do I scale this? How do I grow this? How do I deal with some of these challenges that I'm facing? Then Scaling Up by Verne Harnish is a really great resource because it's summarized so many principles out of numerous books. So Great Game of Business and Scaling Up, they're your business books. Let's talk about wealth. One of my biggest mentors who's had the biggest impact on my life is a man by the name of Brad Sugars, and he has a whole bunch of business books, but more recently in the last few years he released a book called The Wealth Coach. So The Wealth Coach by Brad Sugars, or it might say Bradley Sugars on the cover, I'm not entirely sure. This is a really great book. Like if you enjoy parable style books where they're telling a story, it's not necessarily just a straight nonfiction, it's a parable story which teaches you will love The Wealth Coach. Whether you're in business or not in business, it is a really powerful book at just kind of showing you the journey of starting to invest and what that can do for you. So whether you're a business owner or not, The Wealth Coach is a really powerful book. Highly recommend you read that. The next 2 books are by the same author, a guy by the name of George Antone. Now, the reason I recommend 2 books is they kind of work really well together because one of the books talks about principles that he taught in another book. So George Antone wrote these 2 books. One is called The Wealth Code or The Wealthy Code, and the other one is called Debt Millionaire. Debt Millionaire had the biggest impact on shifting and changing the way I view debt. Before reading this book, I was still a bit scared of debt, and this book just really helped shift a lot of my understandings of debt and gave me more of the math frameworks I needed to go, I get it now. There were principles I understood, but he just painted it in a picture that I highly recommend. And then The Wealthy Code really just expands the bigger vision. So highly recommend that. So the wealth books again was The Wealth Coach by Brad Sugars, The Wealthy Code by George Antone, and Debt Millionaire again by George Antone. And those business books, just to summarize again, was The Great Game of Business by Jack Stack and Scaling Up by Verne Harnish. So action steps from here. Pick one. Don't pick them all. Pick one of those books and go and buy it. Add it to your Kindle or get it ordered to be shipped to you. Just buy one of those books and endeavor to read it in the next month or 2. If you're one of those people who can buy a book and read it in a day, like I can be sometimes, go for it. Otherwise, if it's more, you need it here and it'll take you a while to get through it, just pick one. Again, if you're not in business or you're still in the earlier stages of business, you don't have a team of 5 or more, then probably start with The Wealth Coach by Brad Sugars is where I would start. But they're super valuable, super powerful, and I hope this has been helpful. If you would like anyone else to know about these books, then you could tell them all the books I've recommended, or you could just share the link to this episode so they can listen to it as well, which is what I would recommend. And I personally would love and appreciate if you did that, because I'm wanting to reach more people. And if they like this episode, then they may also go back and listen to some of the other episodes and learn even more from those, as well as maybe even subscribe and follow on for future episodes too. So if you've got value out of this, please share it with a friend, a family member, or a business colleague, so we can continue to help more entrepreneurs rise in their journey of building wealth in their business and outside of their business. Until I see you in a future episode, just keep up the journey. You've been listening to Entrepreneurs Rising. Thank you, dear listener, for tuning in. I appreciate your time and look forward to connecting in future episodes. If you would like show notes or any resources from today's episode, you can find them at rising.show. Rising.show. You can find show notes for this episode and all other episodes, as well as links to socials and the ability to reach out and connect with me, make your suggestions for future episodes. Until next time, keep up the journey.